Summer nights are supposed to be peaceful. You know the feeling, warm breezes through the trees, fireflies blinking in the dark, the smell of barbecue still hanging in the air. The sky stays light a little longer, and the world feels slower, quieter, safer. It's the time of year when people leave their windows open, forget to lock the door, stay out late without thinking twice. It feels like nothing bad can happen, like the world is taking a break. But that kind of comfort can be dangerous, because when you stop paying attention, that's when something else can slip in. The stories you're about to hear aren't just scary stories or internet legends. These are real experiences, real people who were just trying to enjoy a summer night and ended up with something they'll never forget. They didn't ask for what happened. They weren't looking for trouble, but something found them anyway. They shared their stories not for fame, not for attention, just to be heard, to warn others, to feel a little less alone. So if you're listening right now, maybe sitting outside, maybe with the lights off, just know this: not every summer night is safe. Not every sound is the wind. And some nights don't end when the sun comes up. These are 3 very scary, very true summer night horror stories that it was a hot, sticky night in mid-July, deep in Michigan. The kind of night where the air clings to your skin, and even the breeze feels heavy. Caleb and his friends had driven up to his uncle's cabin, which sat next to a small, quiet lake. It wasn't anything fancy, just a wooden cabin, a fire pit, a short dock, but it was peaceful, secluded, the kind of place where you could hear yourself think. This was their 3rd summer doing it. For friends, just hanging out, drinking a few beers, roasting marshmallows, talking late into the night. It had always been fun, easy, safe. But something felt different this time. It was around 11 p.m. when Caleb noticed it. He was staring out at the lake, just listening to the water lap against the dock, when he saw something out there, a black shape low in the water. At first, he thought it was a canoe, but they didn't have one. He was sure of that. He pointed it out, but the others didn't seem concerned. One of them laughed and said, "Maybe your uncle bought a boat and didn't tell you." But Caleb couldn't stop looking at it. It wasn't drifting, it wasn't rocking like you'd expect. It was still, way too still. Eventually, they got distracted again, joking, snacking, talking about random stuff. But when Caleb looked back, it was closer, maybe 10 feet nearer to the dock. Still not moving, still just sitting there. He decided to check it out. Maybe it was just a log floating out there. He figured he'd get close, see it for what it was, and stop freaking himself out. So he walked out onto the dock, alone. As he got closer, something felt wrong. The moonlight was hitting the lake clearly. You could see every ripple, every reflection. But that shape, it had no reflection at all. It didn't shine or shimmer. It just sat there, like a hole cut out of the water. He froze. His skin went cold. Behind him, the others were still joking around, not paying attention. He turned and whispered, "Guys, come here, now." They came over, annoyed, until they saw it too. Now the shape was closer, maybe 20 feet away, and still not making a sound. No one spoke for a long time. Then Chris, always the one to mess around, grabbed a flashlight and pointed it at the thing. And that's when they saw it. A face. Not a clear one, not human exactly, but 2 pale circles where eyes should be, and a faint, smudged curve like a mouth. Not glowing, not bright, just there. Like someone had drawn it with chalk on a wet wall. Then it sank. No splash, no sound. It just slowly slipped beneath the surface, vanishing straight down like it had never been there. They didn't go back to the fire. They didn't talk much. They all stayed inside that night, sitting in silence, pretending to sleep. The next morning, when Caleb's uncle got back, they told him what happened. They expected him to laugh it off. Maybe tell them they'd had one too many drinks. But he didn't. He walked out to the dock without saying a word and stood there for a long time. Finally, he turned and said, "My brother drowned out there, 40 years ago. He was different. We don't really talk about him." He looked Caleb in the eye. "You're not the first to see something out there." They packed up that afternoon. They've never been back. Jessica had just turned 18 and gotten her first real job, working at a little ice cream shack in a beach town along the East Coast. It wasn't anything big, but she loved it. The days were busy, full of noise and laughter. The nights were quiet, with the sound of the ocean just a few blocks away. One of the things she liked most? Closing up alone. Most people hated it, but not her. It made her feel grown up, independent, like she was really in charge of something. It was early August, one of those warm nights where the air never fully cools off. She closed the shack around 10 p.m., took the trash out to the back and locked up. The boardwalk was mostly empty. A couple holding hands, someone jogging in the distance, the sound of waves. Everything felt calm. She walked toward her car, which was parked in the back lot, just a short walk through a little wooded path behind the building. It was quiet, peaceful. That's when she saw it. A white van. It was parked way in the back, almost hidden in the shadows near the trees. No logos, no windows on the sides. Just plain white. She'd never seen it there before, and something about it made her stomach drop. Still, she kept walking, told herself it was nothing. Then she heard the engine start. She froze. No doors had opened. No one had gotten in. She hadn't heard a thing. Just the low, slow rumble of the engine coming to life. The headlights turned on. Two bright beams cutting across the dark lot. The van began to move. Not fast. Not jerky. Just a slow roll, like it was drifting forward on its own. Jessica ducked behind a wooden light pole. Her heart was racing. Her brain tried to explain it. Maybe someone had been sleeping inside. Maybe she just didn't see them get in. But the pit in her stomach told her otherwise. The van kept coming forward, rolling into the middle of the lot. Then it passed under the one working streetlight, and that's when she saw it clearly. No one was in the driver's seat. No one. The steering wheel turned slightly on its own. The van adjusted its path and slowly came to a stop, right in front of her car. The engine kept running. The headlights stayed on. But the van just sat there. She didn't know what to do. Her car keys were in her pocket. Her phone was almost dead, just 12% left. She thought about calling someone, but her hands were shaking too much. Every instinct told her not to go near it. Then, the side door of the van started to slide open. Not quickly, not with a slam. It moved slowly, quietly, like someone or something wanted to take its time. Jessica turned and ran. Not toward her car. Not even toward the street. She ran toward the beach. Toward light. Toward people. She ran until she found a little beach bar that was still open. There were only two tourists inside, clearly drunk, and a bartender sweeping the floor. She burst in, breathless, panicking, trying to explain what just happened. The bartender looked at her. Not confused. Not skeptical. Just serious. He grabbed his phone and followed her outside. When they got back to the lot, the van was gone. Her car was still there. Unlocked. Untouched. No broken glass. No damage. But when she got inside, her windshield was wet. Not from rain. The sky was clear. It was covered in handprints. Dozens of them. Maybe more. All small. Like they belonged to children. Pressed hard against the glass, as if trying to get in. She quit the job 2 days later. She never parked in that lot again. And she never, ever, worked another night shift in a small town in Arizona. Summer nights don't cool down. Even after the sun sets, the temperature barely drops below 90. Everyone leaves their windows open at night just to let the air move a little. Most of the older houses don't even have air conditioning. That summer was especially bad. Long stretches of dry heat. No wind. No clouds. Just endless sun during the day and heavy silence at night. Marcos lived alone in one of those older homes. He was in his 60s, retired and pretty quiet. His days were simple. He watered his plants and one night he decided to stay up with the lights off. No fan. Just him, a chair, and a direct line of sight to the kitchen window. He sat there for hours. Around 2 a.m., just when he thought he might doze off, he blinked. And there it was, a face, pressed right up against the screen. It didn't make a sound. Didn't move. Just stared. It was hard to see clearly in the low light, but he could make out long, stringy hair, pale skin, and wide, unblinking eyes. Marcos jumped up and ran to the back door, throwing it open. But by the time he got outside, whoever it was had vanished. He called the police. They came out, looked around, took a report, said it was probably a drug user, someone confused or homeless, told him to lock his windows and be careful. So he did. He screwed the kitchen window shut, nailed the back gate closed, left his porch lights on all night. For a while it worked, until it didn't. It was a little after 3 a.m. when it happened again. Marcos had gotten up to use the bathroom. His hallway had an old mirror on the wall, a long, narrow one that reflected most of the corridor. He passed by it just like always, but this time he saw movement in the reflection. He stopped, turned around. Nothing there. But when he looked back at the mirror, really looked, he saw the hallway behind him, filled with people, not moving, not talking, just staring. Dozens of them, all pale, all watching. Marcos stumbled backward and ripped the mirror off the wall, smashed it on the floor. He didn't sleep for the rest of the night. 2 weeks later, he moved out. He doesn't talk much about what else happened in that house. Whenever someone asks, he just says the same thing. That place never cooled down. Even with every window open, every fan running, lights off, curtains drawn. It always felt like something was there, watching, waiting. Summer is supposed to be safe. The season of laughter, fireworks, road trips, and lake swims. You stay out late, maybe sleep with the windows open, let the breeze in, and trust the night to take care of you. But these stories remind us of something we don't always want to admit. The heat doesn't scare things away. It draws them out. Because when you leave your doors unlocked and your guard down, when your mind relaxes and your body lets go, something else pays attention. It watches, it waits, and it moves when you're least prepared. There's something about summer nights. There's stillness, there's space. The way sound travels differently in the warm dark. It makes everything feel slower.